The president's stop here in East Texas balances earlier visits by Vice President Spiro Agnew in West and South Texas. Longview is populated by the silent majority, who today turned out to vocalize their support for Mr. Nixon, in contrast with the shouts of some 200 hippie protesters who turned out to greet the president last night in Miami Beach, Florida. A brighter day and a receptive crowd estimated at some 20,000 persons met the president in Longview.
If you're going to have quality education for a child, and particularly for a young child, you will have it best by having that child go to the school closest to home in his own neighborhood and not someplace else. And that is why George Bush, John Tower, and I, Paul Agers, all stand firmly and for the neighborhood school and against busing, which the law does not require solely for the purpose of racial balance. Because that is quality education, and it is what Americans want and what they deserve.
The president leaves Longview for the gala at Market Hall in Dallas. This is Ralph Robison with the presidential party in Longview for Channel 8 News on the Move.
Our situation so far has been fairly good. We were in trouble before the Kansas City game with Martin and Jordan both hurt and Licio out of the game, and we came out very good shape. We are now injured again at the center position, which is a critical position, although we feel that Manders will come back and play this week. But these are the type of things that everybody must contend with.
Coach, I know how important depth is to a team. You had a chance to test your depth this last week, didn't you?
Yes, pretty much. We feel like our depth is excellent. We feel like in almost every position that we have a very good depth. But the center situation that I talked about in Manders and Hagan both being hurt on the same day, which is very unusual. It's like losing both quarterbacks at the same day. This could be a very critical thing because it goes right into your depth.
Coach, a week ago, the stock of the Dallas Cowboys couldn't have been lower. What did that big victory over Kansas City mean to the ball club this week?
Well, I would say that it went up a couple of points, after the Kansas City game. Sure, we were low, but I don't concern myself a great deal when you're beat as bad as we were beat against Minnesota, because I've seen it happen before, and it's just one of those days. But our ability to bounce back against Kansas City was very significant. Normally, you won't come that far back in 1 week, and I think this could be very significant for us during the race.
How is Roger Staubach?
Roger didn't make our trip to Kansas City because of the elbow that was inflamed, but after seeing him work yesterday, I think he's okay again. He has no feeling in his elbow, any pain, any fever or anything like this. So we feel like that if he doesn't get it hit, for the next few days, which will protect him, that he'll be okay by Sunday.
Will Ralph Neely start again at left tackle?
We do not know right now whether Neely will start. It'll depend a lot on Tony Liscio. Tony, who rested Sunday, should be ready to come back, and if he is, then I would think that Neely would probably work at guard and would probably start based on his past performance.
Would you please assess Philadelphia as an 0-6 team?
Well, we feel like, just looking at Philadelphia, that this is probably the best 0-6 team that I've seen work. Normally when a team is 0-6, you don't see the spirit and the hustle that Philadelphia is showing, but they're hustling and they're working and they're moving the ball against everybody. But what happens to them is what happens to most teams who are on a losing streak. They make mistakes. So they've turned over the ball too much in their own territory, and the result is teams been able to jump out ahead of them. But I think that this Philadelphia team, barring any more injuries, they could come on strong the second half.
You're looking down from the upper balcony at the stage at SMU's McFarland Auditorium. And when the Dallas Symphony Orchestra plays here, it's over 68 degrees and there are no problems. But as we all know by now, when the orchestra tries to play in the Cotton Bowl on a cool evening, there are problems. As a matter of fact, the orchestra's failure to play on that evening earlier this month has caused the orchestra more problems than they ever dreamed of having in all their years of existence. There have been calls for an apology from the orchestra, but the orchestra has said that it will not discuss this matter in public. This morning on News 8, etc., the director of the Dallas Symphony, Anshel Brusiloff, made this offer to the citizens of Dallas. Mr. Brusiloff's solution might, in fact, allow the orchestra to get out of this without apologizing to the city of Dallas, that is, by giving a free concert. And as we understand it, they were to have talked about that this afternoon in a meeting here at McFarland Auditorium. That meeting was, however, canceled unexplainedly at the last minute. For Channel 8 News on the Move, this is Jim Mitchell at SMU.
Many people use this park as a noon gathering place for sack lunches and sometimes even naps. And the green spot downtown is a welcome change from the hustle and bustle of every day. But there may be soon some rumblings from below Burnett Park. Today, the Fort Worth City Council voted 5-1 to conduct a study for the feasibility of creating a 1- or 2-level parking garage beneath this one-block area. Fort Worth City Manager Howard McMahon was asked if the plan is implemented, will it cover the current shortage of downtown parking spaces?
No, this will not. The total number of parking spaces needed in the downtown area not currently provided is about 2,500 to 2,600 spaces. And I don't think there's any way that we can talk about that many spaces in this facility. I don't know how many we can put under that park in 1 or 2 levels, but I certainly think that it would be well under the 2,500 spaces.
McMahon and Mayor Stovall said private enterprise has not provided adequate parking facilities for downtown, and the city may be forced into the parking garage business. If it's done, Burnett Park would remain a park on top of the garage, and part of the frantic early morning search for an empty slot would be alleviated, at least for some. Jim Green, Channel 8 News on the Move, Fort Worth.
that the President's policy of the withdrawal or redeployment of forces is absolutely sound. I have been ordered to redeploy 150,000 by the 1st of May of next year, and the South Vietnamese armed forces are in a position where they can take over, and I say to you that they are the best that we have in that entire section of the world. And this, again, has come from this sound policy as established by the President in the manner in which we have gone about our business in this war in Southeast Asia.
The Texas Association of Realtors have come out against Amendment Number 3. Could you specifically state why you are against that amendment?
We feel on that particular amendment that all real estate should bear the burden of taxation. If these farms and other agricultural pursuits were to be exempt or were to be given a reduced taxation, it would create a greater burden on the rest of us. And I ask you this categorically: what is to stop great developers from buying up agricultural land and leasing it temporarily from year to year for cotton or other agricultural products, and then at the end of a period of years go ahead and sell it at a great profit for a developer?
Bush is in a unique position in that he has a close relationship with the President and is in a very position of esteem within the members of his own party, and can be effective in getting job done for Texas.
I think it's well known in Texas that Lloyd Bentsen has been a very effective and outstanding congressman for Texas, as well as a fine and successful businessman. And we think that he is by far the outstanding candidate of the two.
Paul Eggers, because of his background and experience, would be in a position to provide leadership that Texas so badly needs, and in the tradition of some of our past great leaders within the state.
Preston Smith has been an outstanding governor, and we feel that his experience has worked well for the people of Texas, and the Republican Party has a man that has nothing to offer except 2 years in Washington as a tax collector.
For children, whatever their background, quality. Okay, hi. Okay, thank you. I want to tell you why I feel so strongly about George Bush. I spoke for him before. I remember that election many years ago, 1964. It was a hard year. George ran hard. He lost. But he came back. And you remember he was elected to the Congress in 1966. I've watched him in those 4 years, and what I have seen is that a man who came there 4 years ago has become a very big and strong man in the Congress of the United States. His is a voice that is heard in the House of Representatives because of the quality of the man, because of the honesty of the man, because of his integrity. His voice will be heard in the United States Senate, and I can assure you it will be heard and paid attention to in the White House. We found also that there didn't seem to be a program that would stop it. And I pledged in that campaign that I would ask for new strong laws, that I would appoint new strong judges, that I would put in a strong attorney general, and that I would see to it, if I got support from the Congress, that the wave of crime did not become the wave of the future in America. And we're going to do that with your help and your support. We are succeeding in that program. The Congress has not come along as fast as we would have liked, but I can assure you that pledge will be kept, and it must be kept, so that our young people, all of our people, can have the feeling that there is going to be respect for law and justice and order in this country, something that we must have if we're going to be able to stand for law and order in the world. I want to tell you what I think about American youth. I believe in them. I have faith in the young people. It's an idealistic young generation. They care. They care about peace in the world, and they care about it at home. They care about those who don't have the chance that they have. They want this country to be a better country. They aren't satisfied with things as they are. And that's what we want from our younger generation. We don't want them simply to ape what we've done and what we have said. That is to their credit. And they're going to be great leaders of this country, but also America's youth, the great majority, recognize that the greatness of America is that over 190 years we've had a lot of changes in this country, and that in a country that provides a method for peaceful change, there is no cause that justifies resort to violence and violent change.
Well, our engineers presented their preliminary feasibility studies to the Board of Directors of the Turnpike this morning, and their predictions are that because of the high cost of construction of this road and also the interest that would be required to sell the revenue bonds in the neighborhood of 7%, makes the construction of the Texas Trinity Turnpike uneconomical at the present time. We estimate the cost of construction of this road to be somewhere in the neighborhood between $75 and $100 million, with an interest rate on the revenue bonds of 7 to 8%.
Some people are allergic to certain fabrics, and it's necessary to know what you're buying. From an economical standpoint, you need to know what it is, whether it has to be washed or whether it can be dry cleaned. And again, I bring up your question on the health standpoint, is that particularly babies will be allergic to certain fabrics or fibers.
It is not necessarily something that we need to do today. We feel morally obligated to do it, and I'm going to do whatever I can procedurally to see that we fulfill our responsibility.